So hopefully things don't look too different here. I know that no matter what, it's just a big green wall, but there's some construction going on above me, which has caused them to drill a hole in the floor, which is my ceiling, that has made me push my setup a little further left, so just a couple feet. So instead of being in the middle of the green screen, I'm kind of off to the right a little bit, but I don't think you're going to notice the difference. Regardless, a show that we've talked about a number of times on this channel has officially wrapped up with its 6th and final season, really like its 8th technically because they split season 6 into 3 separate parts. Cobra Kai has officially ended and has had its series finale after how many years of being alive? I have no idea. Cobra Kai is done. The 3rd part to season 6 came out on Sunday? 2 or 3 days ago. I sat down and watched the whole thing in one sitting. I've waited long enough. We've stretched this thing out as long as we possibly can. I had to sit down and watch it. And I wanted to sit here for a couple seconds, and I wanted to review Season 6 as a whole, or at least how the show ended. But first thing I wanted to talk about was how they split the show, or the final season, into 3 separate parts. In the beginning, whenever I first saw that, I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought that was kind of stupid. I don't really know why they decided to go that route, but after watching the final part of Season 6, I can kind of understand it. It's really for pacing reasons and to kind of make the stakes higher than they may be before. With Kwan's death at the end of part 2 of season 6, you can, and there's going to be spoilers by the way, so my bad, but you can kind of see why they decided to go the route of kind of spacing it out a little bit, let the audience kind of sit with it and develop and understand what's happening. It's been the first time that we've seen a kid die in the show. The more drastic thing that we've seen happen to one of the kids is when Miguel broke his back in season 2. But this was a full-on, this kid is dead. The consequences of this karate gang warfare has led to a teenager dying. And that's a pretty big deal. So I didn't feel like there was a needed gap between the season 1 or season 6 part 1 into season 6 part 2. I understand why they decided to go that route, just because it's, you know, the majority of the part 1 was them training and getting ready for Barcelona, and the Sekai Taikai mostly took place in part 2. I just kind of felt like that unfortunately, like, part 1 of season 6 is going to hurt from that, because that's where a lot of the story for the season is developing and coming to life. It started to pick up towards the end for sure for me, as far as part 1 of season 6 goes, but part 2 of season 6, we were right back on fucking track. The show was great. I mean, it was like prime Cobra Kai, and I can confidently say, after seeing part 3 of season 6, Cobra Kai has a natural, fitting, well-done conclusion that wraps up all of the proper story points in a well-meaning, much appreciated, caring way that gives closure to every character, or at least most of them that I can think of, and it was a great ending. And I felt like really going into detail with that, because how many shows do you know that wrap up their series can say that? How many shows out there can confidently say they didn't run it till the wheels fell off, and they ended it the right way, and they wrapped it up properly? A lot of the shows now are just running and running and running until they have to get fucking put in a hospice and eventually die. Cobra Kai season 6, we were kind of treading that way. You know, season 5 felt like a pretty natural conclusion, but with season 6, I felt like they were able to continue it and bring it back in a way that made sense with the Sekai Taikai, instead of it just being unneeded. And I felt like it was done to wrap up the story arcs of a lot of the kids and of Johnny and Daniel and Chosen. Now, is season 6 perfect? No, there's things that I wish kind of made more sense. Like, I wish that maybe the kids would have been impacted by Kwan's death a little bit more. I feel like with Kwan's death, the main point of that was to bring forth the redemption arc in Kreese, and well done. I feel like that was the right way to go about that, but I feel like maybe the kids should have been more affected, or Johnny should have been more affected, or Daniel should have been more affected. Eventually, it just kind of was brushed under the rug and really just kind of turned into a joke after a while. But, like, it is pretty significant. A teenager literally stabbed himself in the chest and died. That's kind of deep. In a show with, like, Cobra Kai, like, they are aware that the karate gang warfare they're in is ridiculous, but when it's time to get serious, they are able to switch that gear, and they did for a little bit, but I felt like we didn't spend enough time kind of reflecting on Kwan's death. And then the second thing that I probably didn't like about Cobra Kai Season 6 as a whole, I didn't like, what are they called? The Iron Dragon, Dragon Fist, Iron something? Silver's Rent-A-Dojo, if you will. I like the like, you gotta find a way to get Silver back into it. I understand that's the route that they went. But I wish that they just spent a little more time developing Axel as a character and developing, what's her face? It was Axel and Zara. Zara was the girl. Unfortunately for me, when it comes to the Iron Dragons, what it looked like to me and how it kind of felt, it felt like Jiren's universe in the Tournament of Power. You had Sensei Wolf, which was something that Johnny needed to overcome in the end, but Axel and Zara, to me, I wish we spent a little more time with them and getting to understand them from a character level. Like Axel, badass, won every fucking multiple Saikai Taikais. A lot of his character development is that he's being bullied by Sensei Wolf and beaten by Sensei Wolf. I wish we just got to know him a little bit more, that made him a little more interesting as our villain, if you will. He's not really a villain, but he's something that our characters need to overcome in the end, and really he just ended up becoming Jiren. And then Zara was a social media personality, a little more stuff to do with her, but yeah, I didn't feel like it's like, they were fine. I thought they were badass and they were something for our characters to overcome. But overall, the Iron Dragon Dojo, I wish we just spent a little more time with them, making it have a little more emotional impact and ties when it comes to Johnny needing to overcome Wolf, Miguel needing to overcome Axel, and Tori overcoming Zara. Tori and Zara had the most hated connection that was built throughout the season. And then I guess Miguel versus Axel was too in some way, but it was more personal between Zara and Tori. And I like the route that they went where Johnny finally needed to get his win at the end to redeem himself. Not redeem himself, that's probably wrong. Complete his arc. At its core, Cobra Kai is Johnny Lawrence's story. And I felt like that was him winning it all at the end and them saying that the senseis need to fight each other. I like that. I think that that's a good route to go down. Again, I just wish it was a little hard because we didn't really care that much about Wolf, at least as a threat. We knew he was badass and he was strong and he was going to be something hard for Johnny to overcome, but he didn't really know Johnny that well and Johnny didn't know him that well. But there wasn't really any other route that you could go down. Unless Silver was the full-time coach and then you did Johnny versus Silver, maybe? I don't know. But getting into the kids and all their tied up in loose ends, it kind of seems like some of the background characters that were pushed to the side, they are going to get their own spin-offs, your Anthony LaRusso's, your Kennys, your Devons. At least that's what the showrunners say, that they're likely going to be going into spin-off land with Cobra Kai, and it would not surprise me if they go that direction, giving those guys a proper, a little more story, which I'm cool with. Robbie obviously breaking his leg or tearing his ACL up in the fight against Axel, knowing that he could have won and still losing, kind of going down the path of Johnny, however, having the Miyagi-Do way and having that piece that Johnny didn't have when he lost, helping Robbie get over it and get through it, showing that he didn't really need this. I thought that was kind of a clever way to kind of transition, because the majority of the fan base wanted Miguel to be the final fighter in the Cobra Kai kind of season finale fight. And the show ending with Johnny and Miguel the way that it started with Johnny and Miguel, that's obviously the best route they could have gone. I love that the way they did it, and I love how they managed to bring back Cobra Kai. We'll get to that in a second. But Robbie being at peace, I like that a lot. And same with Sam. It obviously, you know, would have loved to see Sam versus Zara because Sam and Robbie haven't won it yet. But I like that the character choices that they went with is that they backed out and or weren't affected by not winning it because they didn't need it. It's not important to them, and that's with having the Miyagi-Do trainings and being at peace with who they are. I like that a lot. Sam, obviously going to Okinawa. Maybe we'll see more for her in the future, but that's a really good way to wrap up her character, I think. Tori winning, beating Zara without cheating, winning it naturally, becoming a champion the right way. Great character development for her, and then also signing the karate deal with Robbie to make some money, so now she's no longer in poverty, and that is what her and Robbie are doing now. They get to do karate together and make a living off of it. So it worked out well for them. Love that. Dimitri and Hawk going to school together. Dimitri deciding to drop out of MIT and to go to the other fucking school that I can't think of. Yeah, cool. Keep them together. Maybe we'll see more from them in the future. Probably not. And then Miguel, the show ending with the way that it started. Miguel winning the Sekai Taikai, beating Axel, and getting into Stanford and going out with Sam to go to Okinawa for a little bit. Something tells me that there's more story with Miguel, even though I feel like that's wrapped up. I almost wish that I know that he really wanted to go to Stanford, and that's cool. Part of me wishes that he decided to go to Okinawa with Sam just to be with her. I like the way that they were kind of playing with it, that Miguel will eventually have to go back and go to Stanford. But I wish that they could just went out together and just went to Okinawa together, and that could have been their goodbye. Again, no wrong way with the way they did it. I feel like just them both going to Okinawa felt a little more definitive permanently. And now for the adults, obviously Chosen going to get with the what's her face, cool. Daniel finding peace with Mr. Miyagi. The Mr. Miyagi CGI scene looked a little, like the face swap looked a little wonky, but I like that they put that in there. Getting to see an older Daniel with Mr. Miyagi was pretty cool. And then Daniel's ending being, he's at peace with everything. He's at peace with bringing Cobra Kai back. He's at peace with Johnny Lawrence. Sam is gone. He's at peace. And obviously, Daniel LaRusso's story has more to come in the new Karate Kid movie that we will see in the future. But yeah, I didn't have any problems with the way Daniel's character ended. And then the big dog himself, the main character of Cobra Kai, Johnny Lawrence's ending. Kreese getting that redemption arc, him and Kreese kind of hashing it out and working through everything. Johnny getting a little emotional, acted fucking incredibly, by the way. Johnny, after all these years, coming to peace with Daniel 100% and winning the Sekai Taikai for the team and bringing back Cobra Kai, because the final message of the show rings true that Cobra Kai never dies. I always thought this in the back of my head, how they're going to wrap it up with the show being called Cobra Kai and Cobra Kai are the villains for a long time of it. But having it come back underneath Johnny Lawrence the way that it started, and then them and Daniel working together, Johnny sending his students to go learn Miyagi-Do karate before coming back to Cobra Kai, and them deciding which students should train under where depending on where their flaws lie. It's pretty kick-ass, man. That's pretty awesome. Another thing that was semi-weird to me was the death of Kreese and Silver. Obviously, Silver had cancer and was going to die anyway, but I like how, I don't know, I didn't mind it. I felt like it was a little glossed over, but also, like, Johnny and Daniel are at peace with the side of things, and were okay with letting Kreese and Silver go and didn't really care where they were or what happened to them. And John Kreese getting his lick back on Silver. Silver, losing his mind to get the karate thing, never getting redemption, fine with that. And then Terry getting, Kreese after 50 fucking years getting his redemption, and taking out the most dangerous thing in Johnny Lawrence's life. It's a good ending. So honestly, with all the plot points they need to wrap up, I thought Cobra Kai did it very, very well. And as a show as a whole, it's goofy, it's silly, it's stupid, and they understand that, and you have to understand it too. But there's something more inside of it. The core of Cobra Kai is what piques my interest every time I watch it. And that's why I'm going to give the finale of Cobra Kai a 9. I'm going to give the finale of Cobra Kai a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give the show Cobra Kai in its entirety an 8.5 out of 10. Just because one of those seasons in there, I believe it was season 4, had some slower moments, and then some of season 6 had its slower moments, and some things that I don't necessarily agree with, but most of it, the majority of it, this is a kick-ass show. It's badass. And I can't wait to see what happens with Cobra Kai in the Karate Kid universe in the future. And I'm sure if the showrunners who work on Cobra Kai today continue to work on Cobra Kai or Karate Kid in the future, it's in good hands. And I'm excited to see what they do with it next, if anything at all. But yeah, let me know what you think about Cobra Kai. Let me know what you think about the Season 6 finale and the show as its entirety. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, love, adios, and goodbye.